I read the book when this movie came out because I was really taken with this movie, and I read the book, and I reread it this week, and it's a very interesting book. And
Brag.
these two things are so similar on the surface and so totally different. Almost all the elements that are in the movie are in the book, but they're in like different places, different levels of emphasis. And the book is really just kind of because it's told in first person, and it's just this guy's observations and like thoughts on business and culture and his like philosophy without really much of a story. So
It's just some guy talking on an airplane.
And talking to you, the reader.
While on an airplane.
Yes.
It's private parts.
It's private parts. Like the Anna Kendrick character isn't there. The Vera Farmiga character is in the book, but like barely there. It's just like one little incident that happens. Yes. Yeah. He's like, it reveals at the end of the book, he's dying of cancer, and it's way less about his job as it is about travel and the weird people he meets and the things he thinks. It's like a, you have your traditional ideas about sort of culture and counterculture, and you have the way that the conventional way you're supposed to live is get a job and marry somebody and have a house. And then the response to that is, no, I'm going to do something totally different.
Does he talk about his family in the book?
Mm-hmm. But so what I'm getting to is, and his is like, I want to live in this corporate world. I don't necessarily want to like be professionally rewarded. I just like the lifestyle.
It's interesting.
And this is my counterculture is I want to totally give in to brands. I want to, go to the hotels all throughout the world, but they're all the same wherever I go. And I want to eat at chain restaurants. And I have very, very expansive thoughts on chain restaurants and company loyalty programs. And
that's what he wants to be, is a company loyalty expert. I mean, he wants to go to the most mainstream things who have the best benefits for their members. And he wants people, and he wants to use those benefits. Mm-hmm. He wants to get in those fast lines and get those perks.
And we've definitely talked to people like this who like they've like intellectualized their thoughts on brand loyalty and like why it's like not just bullshit. It's like, no, the Marriott takes care of you, and I know that I feel valued by them.
You go to a Marriott anywhere in the world, you're home. No one ever said that to us, but you are.
But haven't you talked to people like this who are like what they're saying? You're like, what you're saying is bull. You think that the company values you, and they're like, yeah, I know that sounds like bullshit, but I'm telling you it's real because
I feel like we've talked to so many representatives that are high up at these companies that maybe I've had conversations with someone from the Marriott telling me this. Yeah, because that's. Well, I mean, people from the legal department anyway. We go to law firm conferences with people that are the representative for Apple and State Farm. And
what is driving him more than anything is his goal to get 10 million miles on American Airlines.
It's driving him so hard he doesn't even want to say the number out loud. It takes him a while to tell us.
I don't know. I don't understand miles. I don't understand airline miles. Do you?
Yes. Okay. I understand that you get them by spin. It's just like rewards on a credit card. You get a certain amount of money for doing certain things. You get a certain amount of I used to think it meant you literally fly this many miles and you get miles to fly again. Like they match you. And that's true. They do match your mileage in the sky. But if you eat at certain restaurants that are under their program, it'll give you miles for that meal and instead of cash.
So you both get miles by literally traveling the miles in the air and then by making purchases outside of
using
airports.
The right rental car company, going to the right hotels. They're all like Southwest works with Marriott, works with, so you triple double your miles. Mm-hmm. You eat, he buys a certain amount of meals because if he hits a price point, he'll get double miles for that meal instead of.
Yeah. And he has like a $40 per diem from his company. He's like, well, I'm going to maximize the miles I can get out of every purchase. If I'm going to eat at a restaurant, I'm going to order $40 worth of food, even if I'm not that hungry, because that's how I'll get my miles.
Seems like a conflict of interest. Shouldn't the company be getting those miles?
No, because it's in his name.
Right, they'll pay.
The card is in his name.
They'll reimburse him.
Well, you get a company card; it is issued to you.
No, that's probably just like when we worked at the law firm. Like you spend their money and then you submit a check request and they pay you back.
Oh yeah, it could be that.
That's the more clean way to do it.
which is just another one of these things this story is sort of exploring, is like, that seems like a bullshit thing to be striving for, but how is it really any more bullshit than anything else people try to do?
Because this is a new feature on our podcast, we keep forgetting to do this, but should we not talk about
Fuck! Yes.
Should we? Okay, well, now this is going to get an X rating. Way to go, Matt. You said the F word. Anyway.
Sorry.
All right, so we are trying to both do our pre-thoughts on what we think this movie's going to be. Either we've never seen it before or we don't remember it, and so we're just going to make up some shit like Matt did last time, which I thought was funny. Or it's your movie, so you're going to say, what do you think the movie will still get right, and what do you think might be cringe? Mm-hmm. Matt, go ahead.
My pre-movie prediction, I think I will enjoy the performances and seeing all the airport stuff, but I will find the energy of the movie grating, because I know Jason Reitman hasn't made good movies since he made this movie, and that the populist leanings of the movie will be annoying because they will seem out of touch. And I know that I was becoming very interested in travel at the time that I originally saw this, and it'll be obvious why this movie spoke to me. Oh.
All right.
What about you?
Mine were, I predict this movie will be sad, but cutesy little bitch spends a lot of time in an airport. I guess that was a sentence when I wrote it. Sad, but cutesy little bitch spends a lot of time. I wasn't taking this assignment seriously.
It works grammatically.
Okay, great. Sad, cutesy little bitch spends.
You had no outside impression of what this movie was?
No, I thought it was Terminal.
Yeah.
I thought it was a different man in a different airport for a different reason. But my first note was travel, packing cubes, experience flyer going really fast through an airport check-in. Matt won't need boner pills for a week.
That's true.
Yeah.
I still did.
Yeah, you did.
Speaking of the Terminal, I mean, I was getting that and just sort of generic Spielberg aspirations from the opening credits, which seemed like they're going for a sort of Catch Me If You Can thing. I'll pull them up now.
The whole beginning felt Catch Me.
Wipes.
I instantly liked the song.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at it.
I did find this so annoying.
But this also looks like Juno's opening. I mean, this also feels Juno-y.
Yeah. Did Juno have the wipes like this?
I don't remember the wipes. I just remember motion.
Yeah. So I think that for the first maybe 30 minutes or so of the movie, it kind of has this zippy energy. It has this score, bouncing score. George Clooney's doing voiceover. Yeah. I
wrote down that it's American Psycho without the murder. There's this the overconfident guy who's great at what he does narration. There's even a moment where they're comparing cards. You know, the business card scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's just majoring in minors. I mean, just being super educated and interested in things that about corporate culture, just for the sake of it, but not killing people.
So it just got these rapid.
It's zippy while he's zipping a suitcase.
You have that jazzy score. Ooh, look at him move through the airport.
This is where I live.
Passing up all the sheep, even though he's the most sheep of all the sheep.
The system automatically prompts the desk clerk to greet me with this exact statement.
Once he got to COVID land.
See you again, Mr. Bingham.
It's these kinds of systemized friendly touches that keep my world in orbit.
He would have been so excited about the contactless.
Oh, I know.
Improvements made through COVID. I'm just saying, him never having, although he does seem to like the human element. He doesn't want to wait on humans to hand him things. He wants them to say thank you when he grabs something that was automatically handed to him. He doesn't like waiting on people.
He won't like self-checkout kiosks. Here's a thought I had.
Oh.
And I know this is just based on my age, but I feel like if you could freeze technology at 2009/2010, basically where it is in this movie, where everything they can do, we do now. They could do anything we can do now. They could do it back then, but they didn't have the smartphones. They had BlackBerries, but I feel like it was when everybody got an iPhone or an Android, and suddenly the default device they used was not a computer but a phone. That was really that was the decline. I say, I miss the world of representative of the technological world in this movie, where people just pulled out their laptops. You know, people are always laying in bed with their laptops, sitting on the sofa with their laptop.
You do romanticize that.
I do. Well, phones have been very destructive for our world, I think, but I still want to be able to do all the things they can do.
You want to live and you've got mail.
Now I want to live in up in the air because I want, you know.
I want to live in up in the air.
I want high-speed wireless internet everywhere, but you have to open your laptop to use the internet.
And you want the laptop to be 4 inches thick. I know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you don't agree with me.
Well, I will say I got very nostalgic when I saw the BlackBerry. The BlackBerry was my favorite phone. It made me feel the most corporate. All the attorneys had one, but they were really good for the way that my fingers work. Like the keyboard was spaced out just right. I never fucked up when I was typing, and it was satisfying to click. It was fast to type an email that way or to text. I liked the way it buzzed. I liked everything about a BlackBerry.
I noticed this generational divide when we were talking to our friends who were like 10 years younger than us. And I like,
we sound like groomers.
Learned that they rarely ever use a computer. And I'm like, you too, you do a ton of typing on your phone. I hate to type on my phone.
Yeah, break out a keyboard that is Wi-Fi to your Bluetooth to your phone.
You hate typing on a phone too. You just do it.
Yeah, because I'm not going to whip out a goddamn keyboard. I don't have pockets that big. I'm not going to whip it out, man.
The computer is the perfect device to type. Go get on your computer, people. That's what I'm saying.
It takes forever to but I'm extremely distracted by I have 4 monitors. And so I'm going to see the project I'm in the middle of. I'm going to see emails I don't want to see. And my reason for using my phone is that I can like kind of put blinders on and just go to what I want to see. I find it less distracting. And if I had a watch, which I keep fucking losing, and it's been 3 months since I could find my freaking Apple Watch, and I still look for it on my wrist. It's not there. If I had a watch, I'd look at my phone even less. I feel like I'd look at it less and less. When I'm with my kids, I try to never look at my phone anymore, unless I'm supposed to be helping you with something, and then I'm checking for you to be saying, "Get home, help me with the thing that I'm doing," which is our kid.
So you wouldn't want to go back?
No. Well, I don't think you could. No,
I know you can't.
Well, then it's an impossible thing. I like how fast it is to look stuff up. I don't know how I could decide to not like that anymore.
You could still look up stuff very fast. You just pull out your laptop. It's just right there.
I like everything being on my phone, like tickets on boarding passes, because no matter how careful I am, once I go to that kiosk and get the paper fucking printout boarding pass, and then I put it in the very special pocket, I cannot find it. It falls out. I lose it. There's one thing I keep track of as best as I keep track of anything, and it is my phone. And I like that all my stuff is in my little wallet on my phone.
I think that if that stuff I think we would miss that stuff way less than we think we would.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could cope. I don't want my laptop to be 40 pounds again. No.
But in 2009, it wasn't. The MacBook
pounds.
Air was exactly the same.
I couldn't afford an Air then.
You couldn't afford the Air? No, not the MacBook Air. The MacBook Pro. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
George Clooney.
We are and where we are.
George Clooney is flying through the air and he's firing people, but he's really good at it. I got fired once. From a law firm job, and the way that the person delivered the news to me was probably as well as she could have done, but I was still traumatized by I kept replaying the words she said to me. Mm-hmm. So watching it this time, and that was now forever ago, but I do sort of have, I've been fired, and it probably does make a huge difference how they present it to you. This does seem a lot more valuable than I think I thought it was previous times I'd seen the movie.
But it also occurs to me, because I thought they were being cute in their wording, and because what they always say at the beginning of every firing is, "I regret to inform you that this position no longer exists or is no longer available." Mm-hmm. It's no, they literally mean that. They don't have the role at this company that you fill. You're not getting fired because you did something wrong. This position does not exist anymore, so we don't need anyone to do it. That's different from what happened to you.
I think he's doing whatever they need. He'll do it. That's what we see in this movie is layoffs, because that makes it the most sympathetic. But he's firing people for cause. He absolutely is.
I haven't seen one example of that.
No, I'm saying you don't see those in this movie.
Well, that's convenient for you to be get to invent that.
I think whatever way you need to, whatever you need him to do, he'll do it.
Well, anyway, they pointedly say in the beginning that getting fired is equivalent, some people say, to a death in the family. Do you feel like that? So it was a traumatic experience for you. You'd never been fired.
It was very traumatic.
You've never been fired since.
Right. Now, what I didn't know at the time, and I was a young man in my 20s, I didn't know that like a lot of people get fired all the time. People don't talk. It's like abortion. Lots of people who have been fired, maybe they don't talk about it.
Well, and lots of people don't. They get the opportunity to call it something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which they did to me. They're like, we won't say that because we find that it's hard for people. What they said was, you can stay here for at least another month while you look for another job, because I know that it's hard to get a new job when you got fired from one. So say whatever you want to say, which was nice. And I was able to just go right back to my old job a job I shouldn't have left in the first place. I got this law firm job because you and I had gotten married and we're like combining our finances, and I felt insecure that you made a lot more money than me and I wanted to catch up to you, which is a bad reason to take a job.
Yeah.
But, and especially one that like, it's not like I wanted to do this for the rest of my life, the thing that I got hired to do, which was be a paralegal. And I had done paralegal work in the past, but was not qualified to do the kind of stuff they wanted me to do. But I also, subsequently learned people get fired, and it's just, people need to be more open about it because we can make each other feel better. That you don't have to feel like a total failure. Like,
the hiring process is completely flawed. People hire the wrong people all the time, and it's not their fault they got hired.
And then also, and this would have made me feel even better, is like this is a law firm that fires everybody.
Oh, that would have, yeah. Well, it's a huge, national.
Oh yeah, like tens of thousands of employees.
You and I have almost exclusively worked for one-offs, local places. The only chains or national companies I've ever worked on were like fast food.
Yeah.
Sonic, just saying. Smoothie King, excuse me.
And you never got fired.
Never.
Good for you.
I've also never been broken up with. That's a lie. That's a lie. I've never been broken up with for a serious relationship, but I got broken up with tens of millions of times.
Really?
I mean, like week-long, month-long, everything in middle school and high school.
Oh,
almost everything was me getting broken up with. But all my long-term relationships, no, I broke up with them.
I went back to my old job in marketing, and then like the next year is when you and I both quit our jobs and started our own company. Something that we've done since then. But it's fun because like you kind of had like we've never been let go by a client, but it's, instead of having one job where you're working for yourself, you have like dozens of jobs where you're working for dozens of bosses.
Yeah.
And it feels so much more.
You're constantly auditioning, constantly proving yourself again and again. I'm out of that loop for the most part. Maybe once a year I have to prove myself, but I do not go for things. I do not pitch for things. People come to me because they've heard of us and me. And that is the way I do not feel the need to prove myself. I will always do a good job. I don't need the added stress of like, of what it does to me psychologically to feel like I need to just knock it out of the park. No.
And we don't.
No, thank you.
And because we're generally working with smaller companies who don't have like a C-suite that's like, we need to reduce budget here, and here. So like, we'll cut the marketing people. I'm always worried though that happening to us. It never seems to happen though. This, when you see the things that people are dealing with in this movie, and then bringing in the real world baggage of like what AI is doing to professional jobs like ours in sort of the creative adjacent things, when they're like things AI is going to be able to replicate are writing and graphic design. It's like, well, what else are we going to do then? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. But that's the definition of being middle class is precarity. It's at any time I could slip right back into the dumpster. Let
us say this movie is about him being, his profession, his niche being replaced by an automated thing that then an automated system, basically Zoom, which looks overly complicated because they wouldn't have known about Zoom then, and even a training program where he just sees cubicles of people learning to do what he does with this, what is it called, like a question map, like if they say this, then go here.
A thought flow.
Basically saying an automated process.
An algorithm, yeah.
Yeah.
If this, then that. Yeah.
Yes. an automated process can completely replace you. But what this movie does is shows you that they end up killing the program. They end up actually trying it out and it not working. But I mean, that's not actually where life went.
That's not actually, in real life, who gives a shit? Fire them. Who cares?
Right. It might have mattered for this individual man, this individual company, and that individual woman that decided to quit based on the experiences of this. But that is still the directions.
But like Anna Kendrick is, she's like in her early 20s and she's super smart and graduated top of her class, and she's coming in and she does what all young people do, which is like, the way you're doing it in this job is stupid and we're going to do it differently. And then George Clooney's bristling against that. And he's like, no, I have age and wisdom and experience, and I know how this world actually works. And Jason Bateman, as his slimy boss, is like, I don't know who to listen to. Why don't you take her under your wing, go fly around with her and see. And unclear why exactly she needs to. He just seems to be appeasing George Clooney. Is like, okay, well, this remote firing Zoom call thing is coming whether you like it or not.
He also seems to be kind of like thought mining him. Like, I mean, she's working on this algorithm. She's coming up with these if this, then that, but she doesn't have the full picture, the full scope. So like, it's almost like he's letting her piggyback so she can get the data she needs to like close it up, to like finalize it. And at the same time, he's appeasing someone who's made him a lot of money, but doesn't seem particularly computer savvy. So like, it's not even clear that this guy's going to have a job after this.
So we get one snippet of his backpack speech because this is his thesis statement about how he lives his life. We'll now listen to his lecture at the Hampton Inn.
How much does your life weigh?
His little bitch face. His little head.
For a second that you're carrying a backpack. I want you to feel the straps on your shoulders.
And it's a bobblehead.
I want you to
the Columbus Airport,
all the stuff that you have in your life.
Hampton. So can't even make it to Cleveland.
Knickknacks, collectibles. Feel the weight as that adds up. You start adding larger stuff. Clothes, tabletop appliances, lamps, linens, your TV. Backpack should be getting pretty heavy now. You go bigger. Your couch, bed.
All right, it's going on too long. But
all right, well, I wrote down he's the Marie Kondo before Marie Kondo.
I mean,
does this backpack make you happy?
He's like, okay, now try to walk.
Right.
And
pretty heavy, huh?
The first time we're only seeing this portion of his speech, and it seems to be about let's not be so attached to our material things.
Let's not be so capital. It's freedom is more worthwhile than your knickknacks. And then he says, let's take out little things. Pictures are for people who can't remember things. Get yourself some ginkgo biloba and throw out all those pictures. It's like, okay, ableist bitch. He even says in one part, like, you can't walk with that backpack. And let's face it, people, walking is living. Like, all right.
Movement is living.
He says walking.
He says movement.
Fine. But yeah, like, there's lots of people who can't remember things. They don't need ginkgo. Anyway.
What is ginkgo?
Ginkgo biloba. I can't say the actual word. It's just a supplement you take that's supposed to improve memory. It's, snake oil. No, it's not. I mean, it's an actual herb you can take, and I'm sure just like magnesium makes you sleepy, this would help you be sharp sometimes. It won't fix your fucking memory if you have early dementia.
But there are times when I certainly feel like this.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, every time we move, I have the biggest pain in the ass is moving all my DVDs and my books and stuff. I'm like, why do I still have these? But I want these more than anything else I own. I could buy a new whatever the hell else, or I don't even need the other. I mean, my computer and my guitar and I don't know.
And my wife.
I'm talking about material things.
I'm your material girl.
So he's presenting like this, the fantasy of like, okay, if your house burned down and you had to totally start over, that'd be like exhilarating in a way. It'd be devastating, but also this is my chance. I can really start over. And there is an appeal to that. And then we see more of the speech later when he starts to talk about people, and people are also baggage, and we don't need them. They also stop us from moving.
Grandma and Grandpa, they're heavy as hell. Burn them.
When I saw this in 2009, I was, a few months away from graduating from college, and this part really spoke to me because
what the fuck?
I had this vague plan after graduation. I was going to move to California and I was going to be a bartender because I had a lot of anxiety at the time that I was not social. because I didn't have many friends and I didn't talk to a lot of people. And it's like, well, if I was a bartender, my job would sort of be talking to people. So that would force me to be that way. And, I just get to like move around without baggage. I'd be like George Clooney, but in like a different setting.
You would have lived on the street. You would have made not enough money to live in California.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, when the reality suddenly of like, okay, well, you're going to need like a roommate or maybe 2 or 3 roommates.
That'll force you to be social.
You're going to have like you're not going to have enough space for your stuff. Yeah, the reality would have come crashing down. But yeah, the idea of I had a plan of just sort of like, I'm rebuilding. I'm burning this life down. I'm starting over. And I really wanted to do that, and then eventually got all the baggage that he said would weigh you down, and that Vera Farmiga talks about.
You're staring right at me.
Mm-hmm. Vera Farmiga eventually says to Anna Kendrick when she's like, Anna Kendrick says, "I don't want to settle down." And she's like, and Vera Farmiga says, "Well, when you find what you want, it's not going to feel like settling," which is a very nice moment.
Well, let's just say who that is. He basically meets, when his little spiffy, zippy montage going through the airport, doing his thing, going to bars, going to conferences, knowing how to do stuff. He finds another woman or just a woman who apparently is just infatuated as he is with these things, and they start a sexual relationship, and they coordinate their calendars so they can catch each other at a layover and get laid and whatever. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that happens. Mm-hmm. And then he gets saddled with the Kendrick. What's her name?
Anna Kendrick.
That's the one, not Kendrick Lamar.
She plays Melanie?
Sure. With the eager new person who wants to revolutionize his industry. They start traveling together. And then there's some scenes with all 3 of them. But we didn't say any of that.
Yeah, we didn't. Anna Kendrick kind of learns like, okay, I can learn something from this old timer. It's not just following the spreadsheet. And if I get this answer, I give back this response. Don't really know what George Clooney learns from her, because it kind of seems like maybe it's going to set up something like that.
He does learn some. She gets through to him. I think she makes him realize like he is into that. He's into the woman, not as just some sort of fling. Yes. He invites her to a wedding. He just starts to realize, wait, I've liked my time that I've been spending with this annoying girl, and then this woman who I've been having sex with. Wait, I'm realizing right now, that's been nice, the connection. Maybe I do need to stop running. And with Vera Farmiga, who plays Alex, I'll be in this city, I'll be laying over at this airport, we can meet up here, and then we can meet up there, and then in 2 days we can meet up there. And it's this sort of nice equilibrium that they're able to reach, but he realizes in spending time with her, I'd like more. And so he invites her to his sister's wedding. Which is very cute. They have lots of like real boyfriend girlfriend moments. They're at his hometown, and it's just a very look. You're getting to know my life. It really should have signaled to Alex, hey, maybe I like you as more than a friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you pointed out that this looks like a realistic wedding.
It's very realistic. Nice
George Clooney's sister is Melanie Linsky, and she's getting married to Danny McBride. I like Danny McBride when in a like he's comedy. He can't not be like funny, but I like when he plays in serious roles. Yeah.
Against type, would you call that?
No, it's not that he's against, because he's playing a Danny McBride character, but I think that character can be well deployed in a drama too, in addition to a very silly comedy. So yeah, he's basically like he and Alex are like cosplaying as like a real grown-up couple, and George Clooney realizes.
But they're still doing the most pick-me girl fucking shit ever. Like that's what I wrote down. Like, she is driving me crazy. This Alex girl is clearly being a version of herself, the coolest possible version. She's breaking into schools for some fucking reason. Just talking about how she's definitely boned on a commercial regional flight. Like, just, I'm very flexible. Anyway, it's just a little hard to watch. I like her. I think she's really cool. I fall for it as well. But this is not a real person. It's a person, it's a person being a not real person. Like, it's believable.
She is cosplaying, which Clooney doesn't.
And she even says she is.
Clooney doesn't. She gives him all the clues, but he doesn't let it sink in. And then Ryan realizes she's the one that I want to be with. I'm gonna betray my values and go fly to Chicago and surprise her at her house and be like, do you want to go on a date with me to the restaurant? But when he knocks on the door, she answers the door and she's like, what the fuck? And then her kids appear, and then her husband in the background's like, honey, who is it, my wife?
We're married.
Yes. And then George Clooney disappears. Yeah,
and then she poignantly says, no one, honey, someone who's lost.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
You
gave me your address for some fucking reason.
I really liked this movie this time. I think this is the element that doesn't click for me. Not because, I mean...
You're a little bitch.
If she just doesn't go to the wedding with him...
Right.
Then she doesn't appear like a psychopath. Because now, this really seems like demented shit.
She seems off her shit. Yes, that it does turn for me too.
But she doesn't play it like that. She plays it like this is just another one of our fun things that we're doing together. But what fucking grown-up would not realize... I need to tell him that I'm married, and because I'm so living a double life now. Like, you can wrap your head around people on business trips having extramarital affairs in hotels. It is like, it didn't mean anything. But
you know, we watched the movie while we're doing the podcast, so I always see things later. Mm-hmm. They take pictures at that conference of them hugging, and they're on a surfboard, and they're like, she does things that someone having an affair would not do. It just doesn't add up.
When she takes those pictures, like, you could always have the plausible deniability of this is my friend at the conference who I was having fun with. But literally going as his date to a wedding and spending like
time
3
with
days.
The family?
Yes. And never saying to him, never realizing this isn't something we normally do. He probably should know that I'm married. But she doesn't do that, which just adds this creepy element of like, is she actually like some weirdo living? Does she have 2 secret families also? Somewhere else.
Or at least another George Clooney somewhere.
But another George Clooney would make sense. It's just...
You're right. Well, she even says, Ryan, I'm a grown-up. Like, she even says that what she's doing is grown-up behavior. It is not. Yeah. It is antisocial behavior. It is borderline personality. Burn it all to the ground. She is risking everything. She's like, that's my real life. Like, well, you were acting pretty freaking real in my real life with my family. So my family is not real, but yours is.
Yeah, like it seems. Yeah, Clooney isn't the one being an idiot there.
Right.
It's her. If that she didn't see the situation and say, I need to 1, decline the invitation to the wedding, or 2, accept the invitation to the wedding and say, I need to play it cool. I'm married. So weird. Like, if she just didn't attend the wedding, you could have all the nice scene where Clooney consoles Danny McBride, all that section of the movie.
Yeah, that could even make him realize he wants something more.
Makes him realize, because he gives the speech to Danny McBride that he, as he's saying it, he's like starts out by saying, because Danny McBride gets cold feet about marrying the sister. And George Clooney's like, I just got to tell, listen, marriage is the best because, it's just, it rocks. And it's like, it's really good. But then he like starts saying things like all the best memories you have, were you alone or were you with somebody? And he sort of starts to convince himself.
Right.
Too. Yeah. If she just wasn't there at the wedding with him, makes him realize that he needs to go seek her out. That's all.
Yeah, I like that the movie did not make them end up being this perfect little couple that settle down and everything's great. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know why it needed to make me think she's unhinged.
Because what's annoying is like the movie doesn't seem to understand that this makes her a psychopath. It plays it like, no, this is a normal, like, yeah, I'm being like bad and cheating on my husband, but like in like a good, like an understandable way.
Right, I'm busy.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah, George Clooney gets his 10 millionth mile, but it doesn't mean what he thought he would mean. Earlier in the movie, Anna Kendrick's like, if I get that many miles, I would just go to the airport and look at the big board and just decide where I want to go. And you're watching this and you're thinking, is that going to be how the movie ends?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's the movie. What's going to happen next for him? I don't know. But I've mostly complained about this movie, but I really enjoyed it. I know I'm becoming old man yells at clouds, but I fucking miss movies about grown-ups for grown-ups who get to say fuck and shit and curse like real adults do and
more
deal
and
with
more,
actually
yeah, I'm sorry.
deal with grown-up stuff and get to see Vera Farmiga's butt, even though it wasn't her real butt, it was a body double.
Thank God. It was an impossibly amazing butt. I was like, that cannot be her body.
Well, she said...
Doesn't make sense.
She said, I don't have anything against getting naked in movies, but I'd just given birth and you would have seen milk leaking out on my body.
And it was crazy. Tan. Okay, I wish I'd known that. That body disturbed me the rest of the movie. Yeah. How perfect it was. Just didn't add up to... She has 2 kids. It makes me very upset.
Oh. You have a rockin' bod.
And I don't look like that. I can't tie around me and be tan and look like that. I don't know. Maybe I could. Go get a tie.
Do you I love airports. I love flying.
I know you do.
You don't?
No, I do too. I mean, it makes me feel like I'm on a movie. It makes me feel like an adult. It makes me feel like I've achieved something. Mm-hmm. Like I know how to do something complicated. I've always felt very proud of myself when I learned how to navigate all kinds of airports by myself.
Yeah.
Something that I never felt like I would ever do.
It's exhilarating. And when you're up in the air on that big old jet.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that part. I hate flying. I like airports.
I like airports more than I like flying, but I like flying because you're just up in the sky and your only job is get through the flight. You can watch a movie.
Yeah, but I'm really bad at that.
You can read a book.
That's
you're
true.
You're not responsible to anybody.
There's no Wi-Fi, baby.
There is Wi-Fi, and now
you have
to get on it, and I have nothing but anxiety now about like, what message am I gonna receive while
when
I'm up
I
here?
land, am I gonna be canceled?
Yes. Yeah. So that's that. Pretty good movie. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I think Clooney is great. Anna Kendrick is she's so funny. We didn't talk enough about her, but she's really charming and funny and
great neurotic person.
Yes. And Vera Farmiga's great. And maybe if this were made by a better director, it'd be like an all-time.
I mean, because there's a million. There's he did Juno, so he brings back that guy. Why can I never think of his name?
Jason Bateman.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. No,
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
He is in every one of his movies. He's in Thank You for Smoking.
That's his Uma Thurman.
Yes. So what would you give it?
I give it a 3.5.
Oh, that's very good.
I mean, I wanted to give it a 4, but I'm worried I'm going to just keep giving everything a 4. So I gave it a 3. If I could give it a 3.75, Matt, I would. Not to pull a card from your deck, but this is what you did last time.
No, it's good. I like it.
Okay. Oh, and if we needed another title for this movie, it could have been called You've Got Sex. I wrote that down.
Why?
Because it reminds me of You've Got Mail.
Oh, okay.
Well, so I guess I didn't need to end with that.
Never seen it.
Oh,